welcome to a new Project Purdy video. As I stand here recording this, we've got just over 2 weeks to get Purdy ready for shipping and going to Barcelona. This week's going to be a little bit tricky because it's the 11th of November tomorrow and the French respect Armistice Day on the 11th. So it's a bank holiday tomorrow, but what it means is that a lot of people have taken today off as well, because why go to work for one day? So I've got some things that I should be able to collect, but nobody's open for me to get them. And on Thursday we have the big route reveal, so that'll be exciting. In the meantime, let's head off to the garage and get on. This morning we're looking at fitting these limiting straps. So basically they have to stop the axle going too far down, and therefore overextending the shock absorbers and stopping the spring popping down, although we do have the dislocation cone which should keep it in place. So one end is going to come onto this bolt here, and the other end, see that, onto the fixing where the trailing arm fixes onto the axle. So that's where that strap's going to go. We're just checking the measurement, and then that's going to get bolted on. So now I've got to check that these lengths are exactly right. So hole to hole. A bit shorter. Basically this bit of webbing is put through the connector and then clamped in place by that piece of metal. I'm going to do this at 42 centimetres hole to hole, give or take. I mean, it's adjustable later if we need to, so. Chris had to take the shock absorber off again to get the bolt out here to actually put the limiting strap on. So now I've got to get it back on again. So Chris has just stood on the axle to put the limiting strap at its full extension, and as you can see here, the spring has just popped out of its mount. I mean, it's held by the dislocation cone, the bit inside, but it just goes to prove that the limiting strap is doing its job and stopping everything popping out completely. And the back straps are on, and now we're on to the front. But we've got a slight change to what we intended to do, because we wanted to put the top fix in here, but this metal bit hits against this support, so we're having to move it down a little bit, and therefore we need to adjust the length. Okay, so that's the first of the front limiting straps on. The axle's dropped right down, so that strap is tight, I think, yeah, and that spring is just starting to get some movement in it. So again, that will do its job, just protecting the elements of the suspension. And I just wanted to show you how that strap will sit for the majority of the time. While we're waiting for deliveries to finish doing jobs on Purdy ahead of going to Barcelona, Chris is starting to work on Dolly, our next project car. Now, to fix Dolly, we've got to take the body off. That's pretty standard for a Discovery 3, but in order to take the body off we have to strip a lot of other parts off first. So that's what he's doing ahead of getting her up to the garage to Chris, who's got a 2-post lift to actually take the body off so we can start on the repair work. And at this point I'd also like to say a thank you to LR Time, who have a YouTube channel specifically about the Disco 3 and 4, which has just been so helpful for us to learn about how to attack the next project. Dolly looks a bit sad, doesn't she, without all her bits, but as I said before, this is just stripping down ahead of getting that body off. One of the things that we were pulled up on, as you saw last week at the inspection, was that the shackles weren't red. Well, they are red now. They're going to go back in there. But before I do that, I just wanted to touch up this yellow paint. Unfortunately, this isn't quite the same colour, but it'll be fine. So the red shackles are back in place. I think they look quite cool, actually. That's the last shackle. Another thing that they were concerned about on the inspection was that the compressor, because it sits on these little rubber things here, seemed to move about a lot, and they were worried that it might come loose. I don't think it will, because we've had it on rallies before, but it won't now because it's got some great big cable ties around. When we're preparing to pack for a rally, I have to have a room dedicated to all the stuff so I can sort it all out and get it in the right place. So what I've just been doing is making up daily piles for our in-stage food. So I've sorted that out according to this list that I got from Christine. And now I'm going to bag these all up so we know we just grab a bag a day and we've got enough to keep us fueled for our stage. With the 11th of November holiday out of the way, need to go up to the metalworking shop to get the box back that's going to go in Purdy, that's going to hold all of the bits and pieces that we need for our days, plus our obligatory safety equipment that's specified by the rally organisers. So we actually caught the end of the work on the box when we went up to the metalwork shop. That's good. Got spares and tools in the back of the Delilah. So as well as collecting the metal box this afternoon, we've got a load of parcels with tools in from Teng Tools. We're now going to see what's inside. So we've actually got 4 parcels from Teng Tools with lots of useful things in. See, the first thing on the top here, this is a very useful thing. Even when you take wheel nuts off, putting them in a magnetic tray means you don't lose them. So that's definitely useful. I love the packaging. I love this little man. He's called Tengu. He's a Swedish like folk legend type thing, and he projects strength and courage. So that's why he's going to go on to Purdy's bonnet, because he's going to project strength and courage in front of us. Hammer, that's always useful. Oh, that's a little magnetic thing, I think. Screwdriver set, thing for getting filters off. All the things that we need, basically. It's going to take me hours to go through this, so I'm not going to bore you with it. This morning, just checking equipment supports. Chris has made this little metal bracket underneath the Terra Trip because we need a timer chronometer for Dakar. And we tried that, and in a minute I'll show you what that is because I can't reach from here. This little timer is going to help us to regulate our stage. And we tried it yesterday, and having it flat onto the support, you couldn't really see it properly. So Chris has just made this little bracket so that it sits at a bit of an angle. So talking about how we manage our stage at Dakar, there is a thing called a Crizatec. Blownick also do a version of it that we could, oh hello Minty, that we could have to work out our timings, or to help us work out our timings. But we've decided not to go with that because it's another piece of equipment that Marcella has to deal with. And when we've done regularity before, we've always kind of just worked it out ourselves. Also, it's quite expensive and we really don't have budget for another piece of kit. So we're going to go, and we're probably going to go, oh, Minty, come on, you're in the way. There's a category at Dakar called Authentic Co-Driver for people who don't have the computer. So it's quite likely that we're going to go into that category. There is a thing called Rally Rabbit that we can put onto an iPad to work out the regularity. But again, I just think it's another thing that Marcella's got to do, putting details in, as well as managing all the other equipment. Minty, it's not helping. So we're probably not going to do it. But yeah, watch this space on that. And the cat. And the modified box fits where it's supposed to, which is really good. Room for the lid to open. Plenty of room in there, so we need to get that fixed in now. Probably put a bit of rubber underneath just to stop it bouncing around. And then we've got room down here to put the tool case, or in the middle.
Well, if you went in the middle, you've got two small spaces. If you put it to one side, you've got one big space.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's good. We've got to be able to get these wheels, which are quite heavy, in and out of the car if we need to. So, because I need to put this back to see if the box is in the right place, I'm going to have a go at getting this in the car. Wish me luck. Oh, it's quite heavy. Oh. That wasn't too bad actually. So we drilled a hole through the box. Chris is now trying to find the hole underneath Purdy's. You know where the hole is. Work out how we actually fit. Isn't that funny? It feels like it's a long way back when you're underneath. And that's the box fitted in. So that's gonna contain anything that we need to keep in the car that can stay sort of out of the way. We might have another bag here with like real emergency stuff. So when we went for the inspection, Andre said we had to have some mousse on the roll cage. So I measured the bar on the roll cage. This one is the one that was measured. Ordered the mousse the right size. What we didn't realise, because although this roll cage has been in here a really long time, I haven't really looked at it before. This bar is a different size to this bar, and this is the bar that goes up over the top. So we ordered the mousse. This is the mousse. It's not really moussey, it's more kind of a moulded, almost like polystyrene, which is the right size for that bar, but it isn't the right size for that bar. So I've just had to go and order some more, and hopefully they'll take this back. Couldn't script it. That's this week's edition of You Couldn't Script It. We're on to just sorting out our spares here. So what we're doing is putting everything in front of the boxes that we think we need to be taking with us. And then when Felix comes on Sunday, we'll go through, decide how it's all packed, which box it goes in, and we're going to write lists for each box so he knows where to find stuff. So we're just sorting out, as well as all the spares that I've just shown you, a toolbox for us in the car, because if something happens on the stage that we can fix, we need to be able to fix it, which means we need tools. So our lovely partners at Teng Tools, in fact, let me just show you this. Unfortunately, we're not taking this in the car, but how cool is that? That's for Felix's tools. We've got a box with a lot of beautiful sets from Teng Tools that we're going to take with us. So spanners, some sockets, we've got some extra sockets like these big 30mm, and I think there's a 32 as well, that are Teng tool sockets, some other bits and pieces that we need, and this all goes into this rather lovely box which folds up like that to go in the car, all from Teng Tools. So that's really cool, but it means that we have hopefully sufficient in this box should something happen, that we hopefully can get ourselves out of trouble and get on our way. So it's the end of another week. We've just got 1 week and a couple of days before we go to Barcelona. On Thursday we got the big route reveal for the Dakar in general, but particularly for the Classic. So we now know that we have exactly 7,281 kilometres in total for our rally. Now that includes the liaison stages, getting from the bivouacs out to the start of the special stages. For the special stages, 4,162 kilometres. The rally split into 2 halves. So the first half takes us from Yanbu to Riyadh, and during that half we have a marathon stage. We've done those on rallies before, 2 days where we go without assistance. After our rest day in Riyadh, we have the second half of the rally, which ultimately takes us back to Yanbu on a southerly route. Stage 8 of that second half sees the mass start for the Classic cars. Now, back in the early days of Dakar, all the cars used to set off together. Obviously that's a little bit dangerous, so what they actually do is set us off in groups of 4, but it makes for dramatic photos. Then on to stage 10, where we have the dunes, and eventually going back to Yanbu for the final loop, and then going over the podium, which everybody gets to do, irrespective of where you've come, because you finished the Dakar and that's a major achievement. So I'm just going to share that graphic with you so you can visually see how our route looks. Tomorrow we have a big day here. We've got Felix coming to meet up with Nico from 4x4 Project, who you'll remember supplied our shock absorbers. So he's coming to show us how to look after the shocks. So we only have to take spares for the shocks, not spare shock absorbers, which obviously take up a lot of space. So we're going to share all of that with you next week. It will be our final week of prep before going to Barcelona. Thank you all once again for watching. Please give us a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this. Leave us your comments. We're really happy to engage with you. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and we'll see you next week.